Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. Last couple of years have been rough if you've been shopping for a tractor or equipment of any kind. We had the pandemic, a lot of people moved to the country, a lot of people working remotely, a lot of disposable income because people weren't going places. Tractor demand came up, supply was disrupted by the mess that COVID caused. Companies had maybe partial tractors built, couldn't get tires for them, couldn't get seats for them, or couldn't get one component, so they couldn't ship them. And then you had these tractors that components come from overseas, that couldn't get containers for them. All that stuff happened. We all lived through that. I think that's about to resolve itself, and I could be way off on this, but the latest numbers that I see on tractor sales indicate to me that our market is about to get back to normal. And if you're a buyer, that's good news because you'll have a little bit more selection and possibly a little bit more bargaining power. So let's talk about this. What these numbers are. These come from the Association of Equipment Manufacturers, and they're the body that keeps sales figures from all brands sold. And the latest stats are from May of 2022, and this is the U.S. Tractor and Combine Sales Report. Just came out. Pretty big drops in tractor buying and pretty big increases in tractor supply, at least on the small end. So here's the numbers. May sales, just the month of May, a year ago, all brands of tractors sold under 40 horsepower was 23,587. 23,587 just in the U.S. This year, in 2022, that number dropped to 19,836. That's still a pretty big number, but that's down almost 16% from a year ago. Now, when you look at year-to-date sales through May, a year ago, it was huge. I couldn't believe the numbers. Last year, from the start of the year till end of May, there were 97,717 tractors sold under 40 horsepower in the U.S. This year, that number has dropped to 81,386, or a 16.7% drop. So a lot fewer tractors being sold. I'm sure the cost of fuel and the cost of everything else going up has had an impact. But here's the other thing. Not only is the demand dropping, but the supply is up. The beginning inventory in May of 2022 in the U.S. was 63,013 units, under 40 horsepower. In May of 2021, that number was 47,406. So we now have on the ground, under 40 horsepower, 63,000 tractors. A year ago, it was 47,406. So we're up over 15,000 units from where we were a year ago. Now I'm going to go over these other numbers, and then we're going to talk about implements, attachments, things like that. 40 to 100 horsepower tractors is also dropped, but not as much as the small tractors. Year to date, 40 to 100 horsepower. A year ago, we'd sold 29,339. This year, that number is 25,560. So that's a 12.9% drop. Now, just to show you where we are on the farming area, those numbers are up sharply. And the reason, of course, is the situation in the Ukraine, which I am very troubled by. Ukraine is a huge producer of wheat and other crops, and that's in turmoil right now. And American farmers are buying more equipment to try to fill in the gap. But the number of tractors sold 100 horsepower and above this year is 9,302 year to date. Last year, that was 8,423. So we're seeing a increase in big tractor sales, a modest drop in mid-range tractor sales, and a pretty big drop in small tractor sales. Now let's talk a little bit about attachments, and I'll just tell you what I'm seeing. There are still a lot of attachment makers that are backed up on production. I have an online store on my website that helps support this channel, and there's some of them are, the people that I represent are, 6 to 10 to 12 weeks out on new orders. But I'm seeing a huge change coming because it doesn't take 6 to 10 weeks to build something right now, but for all of the pandemic, we were getting more orders every week than could be built in a factory in a week. And so the line just kept getting longer and longer. And I'm noticing that that line is still long, but as they work through those orders, there's not as many orders coming in to replace them. So lead times are getting better. I had one supplier that was on grapples. It was 12 to 15 weeks out, and he told me this week, or a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I can't remember when it was, that's about to get a lot better. And that tells me that we're seeing a drop in demand, and we're starting to see the supply chain recover from the effects of COVID. I have one product that I sell, and I had 2 sold and got an order for one earlier this week, and all 3 of them now are available to ship. One of those orders had waited since December, one since January, and one was placed this week, and they're all going to be filled this week. And my sales rep told me they have another one that's available to sell. So factories are catching up, demand is dropping a little bit, and everything is kind of getting back into balance. So the supply chain disruptions that we've all lived through the last couple of years with the pandemic, in my mind, they're not over, but they're close. And I think third, fourth quarter of this year, you're going to see everything come back in line. And if you're shopping for items, hopefully they'll be available readily. And if you're buying a new tractor, hopefully you'll have a little bit of negotiating power that you haven't in the last couple of years. Appreciate you watching my videos. I'd be honored if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'm about to hit 100,000 subscribers, and that's a pretty big deal for me. And if you could help me, that would be great. All you got to do is click the mic face icon and check the bell so you're notified when I post future videos. Here's a link to my website and the Tractor Fun Store with stuff for sale that's kind of unique for the tractor enthusiast. And here's another video you might want to watch. Thanks for watching.